What's your intent on trying to get the crime rate down in Griffin, Georgia?
That's going to be our number one issue when we do our annual retreat, is having some proposals from the police chief after he's been here a year to kind of give us some ideas of what we need to do. So I've already talked to Kenny to make sure that's part of our presentation from the city staff. Okay, I'll see you at North Point, sir.
You do know that Griffin's been listed in the top
yes,
10.
Sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right.
But it's going to be the number one thing that I've asked Kenny to address at our retreat coming up the second Tuesday of February.
Mm-hmm.
And I've asked him to have a proposal. Russell, thank you. I'll just see you later. Be hold 1 second. 825 East Broadway, and the sewer line leak, and 9 Whitten Avenue, the sink fell off the wall in the bathroom. You can get those here for me. Okay. I'm sorry, Bob. I'm out of the job site doing.
I understand that, and I appreciate you taking time out to talk.
No, you're fine. And I've had some. So that's I've talked to Kenny, and that's my number one concern is for us to take additional steps. What's needed? What do we need to do?
Do you have any ideas yourself?
I did have some ideas myself, but I'd rather hear from professional staff to come up with what their ideas are, and then at that point, then our board of commissioners will work together to come up with our short-term and long-term goals to move forward.
Well, this is really getting out of hand, don't you think?
It is, and I think it all goes. Our local economy has not recovered as quickly as other areas. We need to look at. I believe in the approaches wherever your high crime rates are. That's where you need to put in, additional law enforcement, and whether it's not like stop and frisk, but you question who's in those areas. And I know they're doing that. We also are down about 10 police officers, I believe, right now, staff. So we've got to look at what incentives we've got to put out to attract the brightest and the best, and figure out how to retain those instead of them moving on to other departments, to other agencies for higher pay.
At one time, copper was a big thing. Is that still happening?
It is. We have. I've had 3 line sets stolen in the last 30 days on properties. So they're still going out. I mean, they're not touching. The law changed, and it helped us in the area of the condensing units being stolen, or the coils being stolen out of the actual systems. But what they're doing is they're cutting the copper off just off the edge of the condensing unit, and they're ripping and then tearing and then going back to the heating system where the line set goes into it. That's that copper freon line. And they're stealing those, and so I've lost 3 of those since December.
Do you think we have the right? Do you think we have the right personnel to handle our problem?
I have full confidence in Chief Heaton and his ability to help us get a control on this situation.
Mm-hmm. How long has the Chief been with the city now?
Chief Heaton, about 9 or 10 months.
Mm-hmm.
But this isn't something that just happened overnight. I mean, this is something. This is generational. We've got to figure out, and then not just City of Griffin, all of Spalding County, how we're going to draw a line in the sand and say enough's enough. If you don't want to meet a standard, it's time for you to find someplace else to live in our community.
Mm-hmm.
And our board of commissioners, I believe, as well as from our intergovernmental retreat, I believe Spalding County commissioners are on board as well of doing whatever we have to do to clean up this community.
Well, I know you're busy. I know you're busy this morning. I just want to touch base with you.
And it is. I mean, I already talked to Kenny Smith this morning. We talked and said this is an area that we have got to get a grip on.
Mm-hmm.
It is. Whether it means us targeting communities. I mean, you remember Frog Bottom over behind the old health department in the swimming pool area?
Mm-hmm.
Tide Street, Collins Street, Memphis Street, that area there.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be one of the worst areas of Griffin. and it's no longer, there's nothing standing in there, and it's not causing us any more problems. So we need to identify areas of the community, city and county, that are not, that lawlessness prevails.
Is this going to cost the taxpayers of City of Griffin and maybe Spalding County any more to accomplish this?
City and the county are already spending $25 million a year on jail and law enforcement. So we've got to figure out how do we take a more proactive approach to policing and removing the problems that cause us to spend that much money. So my goal is to remove the element in the areas that the element is breeding in out of our community, so that we won't have to keep spending money to try to maintain order.
If you remove them from that element, from that area, what's to keep them from moving to a different area?
Nothing, but you just got to keep on them. It's a nonstop. It's going to be a war of attrition. We're just going to have to keep going after them.
We're short of police officers at the present, right?
Yes, sir. I believe
10.
somewhere around 10 plus or minus.
Mm-hmm. What's the reason for that?
Finding qualified applicants, salary, what we pay in regards to our salaries.
Well, you start them off around $35,000 a year, don't you?
Yes, sir, and we did a raise this past year in terms of how much we're paying.
Mm-hmm.
But that's an area we'll wait on. I'm looking forward to Chief Eaton and Chief Strickland trying to give us some ideas of what we need to do to get the job done.
And when is this going to come up?
The second, right now we tentatively have our annual retreat for the Board of Commissioners, the second Tuesday of the month.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be
February.
an all-day retreat. It's February, yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the 10th. I don't have my calendar in front of me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I'll let you go because I know you're busy. And
No, I'm fine. I mean, I've got my annual inspection for my 2 apartment complexes going on as we speak. So
Mm-hmm. I know you're busy.
I'm having fun right now. Trying to keep this young man happy.
And I appreciate your time there, young man.
You call me anytime, Bob. I appreciate it. I hope things are treating you well.
Oh, yes, yes.
I'm actually, I don't know if I've told you, I'm now selling insurance as well. I decided it was time for me to figure out what I was going to do when I grow up. And I'm now working for Dan Rivers as well out of Jackson, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So running Hollberg properties as well as
So now you,
selling insurance.
so what you're telling me, you've now grown up then?
I have decided that I've got to take care of my family, and when I'm spending $750 every time someone steals my line set on my HVAC, I'm treading water every day.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are at this point.
Yes, sir. So I'm now working close to 60 hours a week between both jobs.
Mm-hmm.
The 70 hours just to keep going.
Well, you can handle it. You're a young man.
I can. God's given me the strength and the opportunities. And again, call anytime you'd like to talk, okay?
I will, and you have a good day.
Thank you, sir.